I'm Jeremy Love, immigration attorney here at the Love Law Firm. I want to thank you for joining us with this live chat talking about immigration in light of the tragedy of the coronavirus, as well as decisions made by the Trump administration. There's a number of topics we're going to cover, and we'll do it pretty quickly. Hola, me llamo Jeremy Love, abogado de inmigración. En este momento vamos a hablar de lo que está pasando con inmigración en cuanto a coronavirus y las decisiones de la administración de Trump. Esta charla está en inglés. Vamos a regresar muy rápido con una charla en español. Well, as you know, there have been a number of decisions that have been made by the Trump administration in dealing with the pandemic. I want to discuss real quickly today the four main things that I've seen as far as a general travel ban, as well as closings of immigration offices. Some are open, and the executive order that we received on the 22nd of April, and whether the assistance by the government will be used against someone when it comes to public charge determination. Okay, well, first of all, there has been a general ban on travel to the U.S. from through the borders of Mexico and Canada. That's something that I just wanted to mention, that right now, except for with people with who are U.S. citizens or permanent residents or medical personnel or some type of emergency travel, it is difficult to come into the U.S. right now because the majority of the consulates are closed for in-person type appointments. Okay, that's something I want to mention. Also, the status of current offices. Now, most immigration offices are open, but they're closed to the public. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you're filing for an immigration benefit, let's say citizenship, yes, you can do that. You can file immigration's receiving applications and everything, but they're not going to do any in-person appointments like fingerprints or interviews at this time. Now, that's something where they've also announced that they're going to use previous fingerprints. So if you've done your fingerprints before, and let's say you file for a work permit, you can use fingerprints that you've used previously. That's something I don't know why they haven't done all along, because your fingerprints haven't really changed. So why can't they just reuse them? But that's immigration decision for you. But right now they are reusing old fingerprints, something I want to mention. Now, the courts, most immigration courts are open but closed to the public. There's an exception. All detained immigration cases are continuing, but anyone who's not detained, that's not in ICE custody, those hearings are continued through May 15th. So if you have a court date and you're not detained in court before May 15th, your case is being continued and you'll receive a later date. That could be continued as well. So the courts are open, receiving applications, so is immigration. Now, ICE, if you have a check-in, and this is dependent on which office, but if you have a check-in before June 1st, your case is probably going to be continued to after that. So if you have an ICE check-in in Birmingham, the office is in Homewood. If you have a check-in there, it's been continued to June 1st, but that's dependent on your office. And so that's a little bit about what's the status of the offices of immigration right now. I also want to mention the situation with the executive order that was announced on the 22nd. So there was a lot of confusion about this because of the misinformation by the Trump administration. Trump had tweeted one thing, and then he had a statement that was something completely different, and then we received the order, which is different than either of those. So basically, it's pretty limited, and it's not a general travel ban. So I'll discuss who it does not apply to and then who it does apply to. So this was the statement that was issued on April 22nd, and it basically said that anyone who's outside the U.S. who does not have a valid immigrant visa by April 23rd or a valid travel document by April 23rd, their cases will be delayed for 60 days. I mean, they can't enter the U.S. They're not going to issue new documentation for 60 days. Now, who does that not apply to? It does not apply to anyone who's a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident or someone who is a spouse or child of a U.S. citizen. It also does not apply to people filing for asylum, medical personnel, and as well as there's a number of other exceptions as well. So that's what I want to mention too. It does not apply to a lot of people. Remember, it only applies to people outside the U.S. who are trying to come in. So who does that apply to? Well, let's say you're filing for your spouse and you're a permanent resident and your spouse is in another country trying to come in. Well, that case is going to be delayed for 60 days. It's not saying she can't come in. It's not saying that they're not going to approve it, but they're not going to approve it within the next 60 days. So your spouse won't be able to come in for 60 days. Another example would be your adult son or daughter. If your adult son or daughter is trying to come into the U.S. and have not already been approved for their travel document or their immigrant visa coming into the U.S., they're also going to be delayed for 60 days. So basically, as I said, it only applies to people outside the U.S. who are trying to come in on immigrant visas or travel documents who were not already approved by April 23rd. So it's fairly limited. I think really this is much ado about nothing and is a little bit more of a political tactic, but that's something I wanted to explain to everyone. Another question that I've gotten is about public charge. So if you received a stimulus check from the government, $1,200, or if your business applied for an SBA loan, or if you're receiving unemployment, I've received questions about whether or not that will be considered public charge for a future application for permanent residence. The answer is no. We received notification from the government on that these types of government benefits, when it comes to the coronavirus or unemployment because of the situation with the coronavirus, will not be used against you for public charge determination. So again, my name is Jeremy Love, immigration attorney here at the Love Law Firm in Hoover, Alabama, just outside of Birmingham. If you have any questions, I have a lot of information on our Facebook page here, as well as on our website, loveimmigration.com. Our offices, we're working remotely. I am currently in my office, but we're not receiving clients right now. And I'm not exactly sure we're going to reopen. We're not going to do it until we can do it safely for ourselves and our clients. That's the most important thing to me. But we are continuing to work on your cases. Everyone's still working. You can make a payment online, and you can send us documents through email, or you can drop off documents in the office. We have a mail slot. You can put documents in, or payments. You can also make payments through deposit at Wells Fargo. We're being really as flexible as we can with all this, and we're here to help you. And so feel free to let me know if you have any questions here on our Facebook page, and I'll do my best to answer all of them. Esta charla estaba en inglés. Vamos a hacer otro muy rápido en español también. Thank you very much. Everyone take care, and please let me know if there's anything we can do to help. Thank you.